1 week away from the beginning of the SimPulse Legacy Truck Series, and tonight we have our final recruitment race open to the public with 8 minutes left in registration. Welcome back live on FTN. Tonight it's the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, which plays host to our miniature race. 80 laps of action here with the Legacy Trucks, and we welcome for the first time the Prodigy Racing Association to the FTN channel. Charlotte, the place to be, and we are glad to have you all back on FTN in America's home for racing. It's currently Alan Dice at the top of the board with 7 minutes and 50 seconds left in this practice session, and we've got a ways to go until we get to the starting grid. Extended qualifying as drivers, more than 25 of which have registered for tonight's event. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. I'm David Kreutz, your commentator and producer, and we're glad to have you coming aboard just a week before the season gets started. You might not see these trucks all too often on iRacing broadcasts, but the Legacy trucks have been here for quite a while. The first ever NASCAR sanctioned car on iRacing in 2009, the Silverado was brought to the platform for the very first time. And despite multiple generations of NASCAR trucks ever since, these originals still have a cult following. And right now, well, with how many drivers we're seeing, there is a reason to believe this truck is still alive and well. Tony Jones right now going to be taken to the track among others. Zach Saunders with the provisional pole now, and as it stands, 18 drivers have taken a lap. A few familiar faces you might see, such as Thomas Coonan in the number 68, who is running today with that SimPulse paint scheme for the Prodigy Racing Association. As Coonan comes across the stripe here, let's see what he can do. It's a 3-lap session, 10 minutes apiece for every driver here. They all have the opportunity to use that time, and Thomas gets up to the point. Pole position with 6 minutes remaining. Still a lot of time to jump higher for all these drivers, and right now it looks like Joey Kuba taking the circuit. Looks like he's going to be driving on controller. A little bit of a twitch up top of the number 93. Both straight, regardless of a little bit of a wiggle, he should be fine to come across the line. 20 drivers, or 21 drivers, have taken to the track in this session, so just about half of the drivers that have registered are with us still. Jaden Sanchez to the top of the board, and Jaden there with a 30.933 gets to the point in the DuPont Automotive Finishes truck. The Silverado comes down to the inside. Just like that, Jaden Sanchez comes down and in. It's going to be now Sean Quinn making his way to the bottom of the circuit because Quinn is going out for one final lap. A lot of other drivers here who have gotten through their qualifying run. Quinn looks to be one of which on his third and final lap. And as Sean comes across the line this time through the 31 machine, he's due to maybe make a gain here. He's 20th as it stands at the line for Sean. No jump. Looks like he will stay in the 20th position. Most drivers are done with qualifying as it stands. Only one driver we look to be waiting on in James Fetzer. However, James has not gotten back on the circuit and got a little bit of time here before the race gets started. So how's about you take a look at one lap on board with a 74 of Wesley Triplett. And going to be fully down the power through the main straight and the back straightaway as well. Matter of fact, for most of these drivers, you're going to see them full power for the early laps of the run. Expect tire saving to come into play later in this race. Well, that's of course if we go green all the way, which is not a guarantee. Right now, though, here's one driver who's preparing for that long green flag run, the 7-4, who is currently 11th on the timing charts. James Fetzer now going to get on the track, and Fetzer looking for one final lap here in that number 44. James going to be coming across the stripe this time by his second lap. 3 minutes and 13 seconds. That will not count. This lap will. And the 44 going to be in the middle groove here. Looks like he's going to take that very conservative groove, not trying to go down to the bottom. The quicker times will be found on the low side, and for the time being, it looks like it's going to be Fetzer staying in the middle. If you get up down low to a certain extent, you might feel the bumps through 3 and 4, which will catch a driver out. We saw that previously, and if you can't save it, that is the end of your run. So James is going to be a little bit safer, and he's going to put himself up into 17th. It's going to be 32.439 for James Fetzer, 17th spot on the board, and he finds himself now right behind Nick Hodge on the timing sheets. Not half bad run there for James Fetzer. He moves up inside of the top 20. 18th is going to be Austin Runkle. Runkle, you might remember from the Frank Pauley 500, one of the organizing members of that race. Matter of fact, if you weren't with us at the end of that night, we were able to raise over $200 for the Frank Pauley Scholarship Fund. We'd like to thank all the viewers once again for your incredible support. Helping out with Austin Runkle and that entire team means a lot. Of course, the entire Moving Chicanes Racing League community who made something happen in a big way over the course of 500 miles. As a matter of fact, I believe that's the reason we're here today. Runkle, a driver in this field, and Thomas Coonan, who you've seen in the Iora Cup Series, came to us with the opportunity to bring these legacy trucks back to life. Legacy trucks, I have to say, when it comes to my personal taste, are about my favorite truck on the iRacing platform. They don't get a lot of love, but I think they deserve more than what they get. And a track like Charlotte, you might have raced with a pickup Cup Series, or Daytona, not to mention, maybe, if you've seen it a time or two, Talladega or Pocono Raceway. But not a lot of drivers get the opportunity to go for a full season, which takes an awful lot of time, of course, to organize. So we'd like to thank Prodigy for putting it together here, knowing it's a unique opportunity, and we're minutes away from seeing the fruits of their labor for the first time on a broadcast here. Fetzer is going to be coming down and in. He does 5 laps, gets up to 17th on his run, and that will be all she wrote. Nobody else has gone out for qualifying. Cody Adkins and Jaden Sanchez are still on the track. Sanchez is your pole sitter, but it looks like he has not gone out for any additional laps. Brent Plays and Phoenix in the chat room, thank you guys for stopping by. Great to have you here as first-time visitors, and with that being said, we hope you're here for many weeks to come. If you're liking the action already and you have a driver in the field you know, well, make sure to let us know. We're going to be doing shout-outs all night long. We're not familiar with the majority of the field, to be completely honest, but that's the goal of tonight. We're going to get to know the drivers, get to see how they drive. It's going to be a tight field, and with 20 seconds to go in qualifying, it looks like it's effectively over. Fetzer still rolls, but qualifying is over. Jaden Sanchez over Thomas Coonan by 62 one-thousandths of a second. What a gap it was for the top 2 drivers, and it looks like this time around, Jaden gets the advantage. The sun begins to set at the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we are upon the track we've seen many a time here on FTN, but for the first time with the Legacy trucks, we're going to see who's got what it takes in America's home for racing. The starting grid tonight, going to see Jaden Sanchez on the pole position with Thomas Coonan in second, and third place. Then from there, it is Zach Saunders. Jace Hale is going to be in fourth, and it's going to be fifth place. Then Cody Adkins, Austin Collins, position number 6. Seventh place, it's going to be Cameron Albertson and Alan Dice in eighth. To round out the top 10, Chris Mullins and Tony Jones. 41 of Jones there in 10th. Additionally, you'll see Wesley Triplett in 11th, and then Vitor Guilherme in 12th. 13th place is going to be given to Eric McCluskey and Rodney Roberts, a former SNT competitor. They're in 14th. 15th place goes to Ray Williams, and Nick Hodge is in 16th. And then from there, 17th place to James Fetzer. Austin Runkle going to be 19th. And it looks like then from there, it's going to be Joey Kuba and Raymond Castle rounding out the top 20. The rest of the drivers here did not take a time, but we'll go through their names very quickly, as it's a multitude of Row after row after row, it appears. It's a bit tricky to get through it all. You see Ryan Potter, who disconnected, but you might know him from the Integrity Ignite Series and Highline Racing League. A few other drivers here making their attempts, but most of which will not get on the track. It looks like 22 drivers will take to the circuit tonight, and that is that. From 1st to 22nd, that's where they all go, and the results from qualifying right now, they're on your screen. We're about to find out the results of this race. Talking about the weather for tonight's event, before we get things going, here's your pre-race weather check. 74 degrees, the ambient temperature, with winds southeast bound at about 6 miles an hour. The forecast is ever-changing, but it's going to be sunny skies all night long. It's the new configuration of Charlotte, so a very forgiving circuit relative to its legacy counterpart, and the old trucks will get a bit of a break. They're going to be burning tires, though, with high speeds and high horsepower. Expect action for 80 laps, and it's time for Jaden Sanchez to lead the field down to the green. Pace car is on its way, and it's one final recruitment night here in Charlotte. Green flags out, and Jaden Sanchez lead us in. Caution's out already. Back of the field, Nick Hodge and James Hetzer. And it's destruction. That's going to be the end of their races, it looks like. If there's no faster pair, there are 3 faster pairs. Well, it almost looks like a race ender, but it is not. Here's a look back right now, and you'll see what happened. Well, at this point, they were already destroyed. Let's take a little bit further back and find out what caused it. And the 33 is going to come right up there to James Fetzer. So Fetzer going to catch a piece of Nick Hodge. And as such, the caution is going to fly. 2-car incident. And we are once again pacing. The 44 machine all bent up. He's going to have to come back to pit road now for his first of 3 faster pairs. And 3 faster pairs in 80 laps is quite forgiving here. So the drivers are being given multiple opportunities as Thomas Coonan jumps up to the race lead. And it's a swap at the front of the field. Zach Saunders now second. And, well, where's the 24? That's a good question. Jaden Sanchez is backwards. And he got spun under caution. Taking a look back, this is the instant replay, mind you, of what just occurred. And as we take that look, Jaden Sanchez was the race leader. And no, he locked it up himself. Well, nobody caught up to Jaden Sanchez there. Luckily, the 24 parked it in a safe place, so to speak, but he's going to lose all that time and all that track position from the pole, and that's going to give Thomas Coonan the temporary race lead. We'll see whether or not Jaden gets all the spots back. He's making them up right now on the apron. Early trouble for Jaden Sanchez, and that could have been his race. I think he gets away quite luckily, all things considered. And now Jaden's going to get back up there as Thomas leads his first lap of the day, almost by complete mistake. Jaden back up in front. 68 at Thomas Coonan tonight, going to be running with JFR, and you might see their drivers competing on Thursday nights in the Iora Cup Series. Not to mention Aaron Schugel and Corey Lyles, drivers who are consistent in that series, and we saw them last night in what was a tricky race, to say the least, in the Iora Cup Series, which had a total of 16 cautions. That's the season high, and I don't think we're going to be able to beat that in this race or next week's Iora Cup Series event, which will be at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We're 3 laps in here out of 78 to go, so 80 total on the clock, and right now, getting that first caution to settle us in. Fetzer and Nick Hodge went down to pit road, and we're hoping to get our first full green flag lap, this time by. Here comes field led by Sanchez. Double file, we're going to have the 24 back to the bottom side, so will be Jaden Sanchez getting that race lead and Thomas Coonan right under. The choice is made, though. We're not going to go double file any longer. Single file restart to get us going. And when we talk about restarts, a little bit of trivia, these trucks are from 2008. The first ever NASCAR double file restart was in June of 2009, so it is period accurate to have the single file restart rather than double file. Don't expect to see too many other double file restarts throughout the season here, as we're going to make it a little more realistic single file restart to move us back into the swing of things with a total of 76 laps to go. Sanchez, Kuhn, and Zach Saunders 1, 2, 3. Cody Atkins going to be fourth, and Chase Hale is there in fifth. Every driver who took the green flag is still with us in this event. Sanchez gets the lead after spinning under caution, and he should be able to hold himself through as we come back to the green flag for restart number 1. Let's go with the number 24 in full control. Thomas Coonan right there behind him. Flag is going to fly with less than 77 laps to go. Here we go. Oh, there's already a car on the wall. The 29. Do we get the green? Yes, we do. But the caution's out already. And it's another wreck. We got trouble. And it's going to be Nick Hodge, Rodney Roberts, and Sean Quinn. Take a look back at this one. Well, Roberts was already in the wall, then backed up into multiple other drivers like Sean Quinn. And it just gets worse from there. This was the very start, and it's a stack up fast. Leaders, well, they got away. However, not going to do so pretty easily, as of course, almost a check up there. You see a little bit of mid-pack kerfuffle. And it looks like Austin Collins almost catches some unnecessary contact. The second caution is already out. Not the best way to start things. Leaders are coming across the line here, and Rodney Roberts is down to pit road, so we have not gotten a green flag lap in. However, we have made it 5 laps into this race. You're looking at Jaden Sanchez and Thomas Coonan, who are side by side right now. Thomas is on the apron, and we are waiting for the iRacing official pace car right now. That's why drivers are getting so much slower. The expectation is the pace car will be coming around this bend and will lead the field once more. Everyone crawling to a halt here as our second yellow flag is in the air. Pace car is with us here. Jaden Sanchez is your race leader. So the iRacing official pace truck has decided to bring itself back to the front of the field here. Jaden Sanchez and Cody Atkins are first and second, and with 75 laps remaining, we stuck a little bit of time here. So if you want to first off join the fun here in the Prodigy Racing Association, discord.com/PRA. It's that simple. You can join with a 3-letter invite to the official Prodigy Racing Association Discord. The SimPulse Design Truck Series is starting in just a week. So keep that in mind as well, because next Friday at this time, we are going to have a 250-mile race at the Daytona International Speedway. It's sure to be an exciting one. And of course, we're getting things settled in with a little bit of a test run, so to speak, a practice night. With 75 laps to go here in Charlotte, the next goal is to get a green flag run. I'm sure Jaden Sanchez and Cody Atkins alike would very much like to see that. However, we have not just gotten it to this point. Got a little bit more waiting to go, and we'll come back green at the end of lap number 7 into lap 8. Jaden Sanchez now going to see Cody Atkins in second as Thomas Coonan decides to come down to pit road. Here's your overall pit road log for today. James Fetzer and Nick Hodge went down after the first caution. Zach Saunders just went down to pit road. So did Thomas Coonan, Cameron Albertson, Sean Quinn, and Rodney Roberts. Roberts 1 lap down, and he's now going to be back on the way. Should be able to stay only 1 down as the field is coming by. Another single file restart, and hopefully this time by we don't see it on an accordion-style stack-up. Not the best way to start this race, all things considered. We should be able to get into a better swing of things from here, but it's all up to the drivers. Hopefully they play nice. Looking back right now, Austin Runkle going to be in that number 7 in the 12th position. Ray Williams is in 11th, and Williams made a huge jump. You might have saw him. He was the one driver who came in way hot when we had that incident. He's able to make it up 4 positions overall, and he ended up falling to the back after the first caution. He's back up, almost inside the top 10, so it looks like his rebound was a little bit better than most other drivers to get things going. Eric McCluskey is going to be the final driver inside of that top 10. And the Chevrolet 63 is running well so far. Not much else to say. Not a lot of opportunities so far to race. Let's hope we get one here and now. It's going to be lap number 8 out of 80. Sanchez, once again, your leader. This time he's got Cody Atkins right behind him. And it's your second restart of the night. Let's get things going once again. Green flag drops, and Sanchez leads us through. At the line, it looks like Jaden Sanchez has it made. He's going to be your race leader and finds himself at the front of the field now with 73 laps remaining. Good start overall for the field on this restart anyway. And now you can see the number 12 of Vitor Guilherme, Eric McCluskey, Ray Williams to round out the top 10. 72 laps remaining, and as these drivers get things moving once more, it looks like Ray going to be a little slow to the inside. He's going to let the driver of Runkle go through, and the field is far spread apart. Ray actually going to be coming down to pit road as a pack flies by him. There's Thomas Coonan, and he's got company in a gaggle of 4. Cautions out again, reason being James Fetcher comes down to pit road, and it's going to be Sean Quinn involved with Raymond Castle, and Ray Williams gets away, but Raymond Castle does not. Cautions out again. Take a look back here, and we'll pull it back half a minute and figure out what caused it. So the number 14 of Raymond Castle going to be part of this caution. It is your third of the day so far with 71 laps to go. Castle loose, overcorrects, and he actually goes down to the apron safely. Then the 31 comes in, and it's going to be Rodney Roberts pushing Sean Quinn. Castle was not involved with the wreck. However, Sean Quinn gets pushed by Rodney Roberts. And there you have it. Quinn with 71 laps to go. He's going to be involved in that one. Rodney Roberts and Raymond Castle, the caution flies. As everyone catches up to the field once again, Jaden Sanchez is going to find himself now leading the way for 11 consecutive laps. He's opened this race up quite strong, albeit the opportunity for competition has been somewhat limited. Cody Atkins, though, got up to second, and he's worked the strategy nicely for his sake, and not bad a job at all for Jace Hale, Alan Dice, and Austin Collins. We'll be hoping to get a few more yellow flags out of the way. Get back to the green flag racing. 12 laps in out of 80 so far, and regardless of the fact we've seen cautions frequently, we have found ourselves onto the nearly 8th of the waypoint. Someone's down to pit road, and it's an errant drop down. Oh, looks like that's going to be Ray Williams there with huge damage on the front end. See now, another driver with some front end damage is Nick Hodge in the number 33. Hodge right now going to find himself in the 17th spot, and the front end is all torn in and torn up. The field now comprised of 21 drivers, as it's going to be Ray Williams, the first driver to disconnect. And, oh, we got one down to the inside. Sean Quinn wrecks under caution. Quinn's going to find some trouble out of 2. Wasn't with anyone there, and the 31 catches a piece. That is our second yellow wreck of the day. Both were single car incidents. Jaden Sanchez actually was part of the first one. He spun on his own, got lucky to lock it down. But Sean Quinn not as lucky. He will not bring out the yellow. The yellow is out already. So 2 laps to green this time by. We'll come back with 66 laps remaining. Unfortunately, a few breaks in the action so far. And Phoenix in the chat room bringing the information here about the Prodigy Racing Association. And you're right about that. We're hoping to see less cautions. This is our third of the night so far. I would imagine at Daytona, it's actually a little bit easier to run at Daytona than it is at Charlotte here with the Legacy trucks, because these things are on edge. It is possible to push them at 100%. However, it's not easy, especially when it comes down to the way that you gotta drive these trucks. You gotta be focused, to say the least, and you've got to have that perfect hand-eye coordination, because if you feel it slip, you have to act on it. If you see it slip, you have to act on it just the right way, which doesn't really exist with the modern trucks in the same sense, but it definitely exists with the way these old trucks drive. There's a possibility you can push it 100%, but it takes a different type of driver, and it takes a different level of skill. Some drivers have it. Simply put, some drivers do not. And today is one of those times where we test out the field and we figure out who has the capability to handle it and who doesn't. Right now, I'm sure Jaden Sanchez is of the belief he's got what it takes, and I think so far he's shown exactly that. One lap to go this time by. It's going to be now Jaden Sanchez and Cody Atkins, the first and second drivers even still. And it looks like we're going to reverse it and make it a double file restart. So we're going to try something here. Not going to be a single file any longer. It will be 2x2 for the first time in a restart tonight, similar to our opening start, which was 14 laps prior. So let's do it different once again. It's going to be the DuPont Chevrolet down at the bottom, and this time he'll be followed by the 9 of Jace Hale. Tony Jones is going to be going to the bottom side inside of row 3. The 57 of Alan Dice is up high, following the all-white 32 of Cody Adkins. I can imagine this restart will be especially contentious because Jaden Sanchez is there on the low side and Adkins is up top here, and they both know one thing: we're not getting a lot of green flag runs. So if you want to get up in front, you have to be good on those initial jumps. If you get a rocket launch start, in good standing. If not going to be the easiest of outcomes to get a position or two. And right now, Adkins knows the lead is right beside him. He's just got to find out what he can do to take it. The pace truck will come down and in, and the race trucks will be allowed to get back into the groove. It's going to be Jaden Sanchez and Cody Atkins for the third time as your leading two. And it's time to get things rolling. Green flag flies. Everyone gets going nicely. 2x2 starts. Relatively clean. Down to the bottom side after our first full green flag lap of the racing. Not bad at all for the number 32, and we are now at full speed. It's going to be Sanchez staying up top and Adkins right down low, side by side here at the front of the field, and we're seeing a real good battle. This is what it's all about, and especially now because, well, regardless of how the race started, tires will be wearing no matter what, and you're beginning to see that come into play. Looking down at the bottom side, there's Cody Atkins still trying to make something happen, and at the line, Atkins himself right there in toe with your leader. Sanchez did lead at the stripe by a few thousandths of a second. Nothing major, but just enough to get that classification as your top driver. Meanwhile, you also see Alan Dice, Tony Jones, and Jace Hale coming aboard. And with Hale right there, he's got Austin Collins just behind, Vitor Guilherme, and Zach Saunders. How about Chris Mullins? The caution is out again. It's your fourth of the day. Wesley Triplett is the cause. And Triplett is destroyed. The front tires are off the track. Take a look back. It's going to be the number 74 of Wesley Triplett bringing out caution number 4 of the day, and we will take a look back at what caused it. Contact there with the 63, and he rockets down to the bottom. Nobody else gets a piece of that one, although it could have been a multi-car incident. Eric McCluskey does keep driving. However, he has right side damage, severe right side damage, and it's another incident. Eric McCluskey involved, and the caution is out. Triplett down to pit road, gets the fast repair. He should be back on the way. Now, Atkins is going to be the first driver besides Jaden Sanchez to lead, and so he'll bring the field back down to the line at the end of lap number 18. Here comes lap 19. We have 62 laps to go. Sun looks to be fully set in here. The stadium lighting just came on to the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, so expect changing track conditions. We're about a quarter of the way through this race, and although it's gone a little bit slower than we might have expected, so far these drivers are still getting to grips with this combination. As it stands, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, so slightly cooler than before. Eastbound winds at about 9 miles an hour, and it looks like right now the temperatures are still dropping, so keep your eyes peeled. Typically, at those cooler track temperatures, it is easier to drive, so don't expect this to be as much a challenge as you've seen in the early laps. The field, though, it is getting a little bit more in the troublesome spot with the opening section. Should have an easier time in the coming laps. I would not be surprised if we see more green flag racing from this point onward. Carson Cluley going to be right behind Joey Kuba. That's the battle for 12th. And Kuba right now going to be in the back bumper of Austin Runkle. Single file as we're going to be informed again. And we should be going back green with about 60 laps remaining. So we're going to have the first quarter of the way done and done. So far, the biggest takeaway, I'd have to say, as we take a little bit of a pause there, as we think about this one here, I think the biggest takeaway has to be the way these cars drive, these trucks drive. Mentioned the previous caution. For a lot of these drivers, they just might not be used to those legacy trucks in a racing environment, and that is a huge struggle to adapt to, especially on the fly with drivers beside you. Field continuing to prepare, and Cody Atkins is the driver in the lead. It looks like Jace Hale with a little bit of connection trouble, but does not disconnect immediately. 20 laps in, out of 80. We've gotten by the first quarter marker, and although these drivers have been taking it slow in this early stint, we've still got a ways remaining. And as it stands, it's been about 1 lap per minute the way the race has gone. Hopefully we pick up the pace, because the average lap speed so far under green has been about 32 seconds. The big problem has been the caution, so we'll see if that aggression gets pulled down just a bit, if these drivers get themselves into a rhythm, or if for the time being this attitude will prevail. Single file restart, we might see another one of which, but the double file we saw previously gave us about 2 or 3 laps. Right now, we're looking for another opportunity. Cody Atkins comes to the stripe, and Atkins is alone in control. Single file formation, like that's what it's going to be, and the pace truck is getting set to let us loose again for lap number 22. It's going to be now a double file restart as we were going through 1 and 2 alone. Everyone back 2 by 2, and hopefully now we get the opportunity to go double file. Now, Phoenix in the chat room mentioning a lot of these drivers are used to what happens on the Monday nights here in PRA, which is the Street Stock Championship, in which Iora driver Corey Lyles is the championship leader. So we do have a few drivers here who have raced alongside each other. However, they've not gotten the opportunity to do so in these older trucks to the same degree. This is the third and final recruitment race before we get things going for the main season. So still some drivers who are here to learn, get that experience, and prep themselves for what is next on the table. And now it's time to find out who's got what it takes here. Cody Atkins and Jaden Sanchez have been the top 2 drivers all the day so far. Let's see who gets the jump here and who has the advantage into our 4th restart of the night. Green flag is going to fly, and it's going to be Adkins once again on the top of the board. Here we go again. It's going to be Cody down to the inside, getting the jump and bringing us right back to green. Green flag's out with 59 to go. A little bit of contact further on back. You see it here. It's going to be number 6 and the number 9 of Zach Saunders and Jace Hale. Hale facing a little bit of that pressure now in the bazooka, number 9. Let's hope he doesn't explode, because right now, indeed, we're seeing ourselves get back in the rhythm for a green flag run. Front of the field has been so far quite fine, on all honesty. Haven't given us much trouble when it comes to getting green flag laps in, but the back of the field all has come apart previously. We hope it does not again, but right now, estimates are that we see another yellow or two if these drivers cannot keep it straight. Number 45 machine going to be going down and even further in, as right now Thomas Coonan tries to get through the field. His goal is to cut through the entire pack tonight, and the 57 of Alan Dice goes up to the wall. All the while, there's Thomas Coonan, and Coonan's trying to make a pass with 58 laps to go. Here comes Thomas Coonan. It's going to be now that number 68 machine in tow, trying to get inside the top 10. The next spot he's going to get, he'll have to wait for it. Caution's out for the 5th time tonight. It's Wesley Triplett involved. And Triplett is again destroyed. Take a look back here. We'll figure out what caused it. And these two, which was involving Wesley Triplett and the number 33 right behind him, and Nick Hodge, were driving close. Looks like all things will come to a head. Hodge is going to make contact with both the 93 and then the 74, which is going to immediately take James Fetcher barely through. Sean Quinn is destroyed. And some familiar faces already who are involved in multiple cautions. Yellow flag is out again, and another set of drivers causing a caution. 5th caution of the day with 25 laps. The average run under green has been less than 5 laps so far. Not a good sign, but we still have a ways to go. So, getting closer and closer to the halfway marker. Unfortunately, most laps so far have been run under yellow. It's Cody Atkins now who holds that race lead. Then it's going to be Jaden Sanchez, Austin Collins, and Zach Saunders. And you can see right now, Saunders is going to be in 4th with Jace Hale, then position number 5. Vitor Gilherme is going to be 6th, Cameron Albertson is 7th, and Chris Mullins is in 8th. 9th place is then going to be held by Tony Jones, and Thomas Coonan rounds out the top 10. It looks like it's going to be a full-scale yellow once again. Not going to be seeing shortened caution, it appears, so we are in it for the long haul here. Every lap, it does count. So it doesn't mean we're going to have a chance to skip through these yellow flags. 5th caution of the day and 26 laps in, hoping to get the opportunity to go back green by lap number 28. Cody Atkins would love to have a battle for the lead here. Maybe not a battle for the lead. We'd love a chance to run away under green. He's been bunched up time and time again. One driver who I think likes these cautions more than anyone will be Thomas Coonan. Back up in 10th. He's made it through the middle pack of the field and now getting closer to the front runners. Maybe a chance to fight for the win from here. So, 55 laps remaining. Jaden Sanchez going to come down to the line. A few other drivers have gone down to pit road tonight, and it looks like Tony Jones went in 7 laps ago. Thomas Coonan did 6 laps ago. Alan Dice, 6 laps ago. Eric Mikulski went in 7 laps prior. And it looks like Nick Hodge is going to be disconnected from this session. Most of your field has still not gone down and in. And of your top 10, a total now of 7 drivers have stayed out on the track from the very beginning. The field has decided it's not best to go down a pit road. At least with the way we've been driving, that is the case. Gotta wait and see what happened from here. We'll be back green at lap number 29. A little bit of swerving down and low there for the number 6 machine of Zach Saunders, and doesn't really mean much of anything. He'll get back in line. Waiting for a chance to go back green, expecting our 3rd double file restart of the day. So it's going to be more double file than single file, if anything, making the switch to try to get ourselves into a little bit of a cleaner mindset of racing. And so far, we've gotten a few short stints, but nothing beyond the category of short stints. That's the big problem. 17 drivers left on the lead lap here, 54 remaining. Cody Atkins down low, Jaden Sanchez up top, and it's going to be then from there, Zach Saunders 3rd, and Austin Collins in 4th. Rounding out the top 5 is Vitor Guilherme. He's going to be in that 3rd row, and a few drivers you might recognize getting further and further up the circuit. Let's see what happens here for Thomas Coonan, who's still on his drive from the back of the pack all the way up. With 53 laps to go, coming down to 52, we have seen more than half the race so far under yellow, hoping now for the opportunity to break through and get the green flag stint in motion. That's all going to come down to the back half of the field here, as the leaders have so far done a pretty good job of keeping themselves in one piece. Here comes Atkins. Right down low, Jaden Sanchez lost that lead on the 2nd restart and has not been able to make it around. Once again, the opportunity is still there though, so we'll see what it's going to take for Jaden to try to fight for it. Go, it's going to be 53 laps remaining. Pace car is going to be down and in. It's going to be now Atkins and Sanchez going back at it. Green flag is out for the 5th restart of the night. Back in motion here from Charlotte. Cody Atkins right now going to get away. As you see, the fight for 2nd is going to get even more intense. Here comes Zach Saunders. Here comes Jaden Sanchez. Down to the inside. There goes Saunders. And it's going to be the move there for the 2nd spot. Nice move it is going to be indeed with 51 laps to go. Now it's going to be an opportunity for the number 6 machine to maybe get up inside the 2nd step of the podium. Although it's not going to be easy here. Sanchez definitely going to be blocking hard. Now it's going to be a fight all throughout the pack. And we're now getting into that rhythm that we're hoping to see for the rest of the day. And the Fanatec number 6 is right behind. And Sanchez knows it. The big question more so becomes, what is Jaden Sanchez going to do about it here? He goes up top, really, where else he could go, and he's going to have to let it slide. Now the number 24 machine going to lose that spot and bring in the number 6. Zach Saunders making the move down and under, and he's almost got it made. Has to come around here as he goes down to the bottom groove. Looking close. Can't quite get it, though. As such, going to be less than 50 laps to go as this battle progresses. Additionally, further back in the field, here it's going to be the number 57 of Alan Dice, right beside the number 12 of Vitor Guilherme. And Vitor, who was inside the top 5 on that restart, falling back just a bit, but nothing too crazy. Shouldn't be anything to really worry about. There's still time to get back up there and make those passes. Zach Saunders looking to be a little bit bottom side, more so than Jaden Sanchez has been, and he's going to rip that bottom groove, trying to get the paint line going, and it's helped him out so far to make up some spots. We'll see what Sanchez can do to maybe counteract it as Austin Collins additionally cuts in the fight. And riding on board right now with Austin Collins, he's going to be fully on the power and in the corners for the same. Very little reason right now to get off of the gas, especially given the fact we had so many caution laps to open up this race, so the opportunities were very slim to burn up your tires and really lose the stuff you had to go all out in that early stretch. So expecting the drivers to be a little bit more aggressive as we come down the back straightaway here. It's going to be Cody Atkins in first and Zach Saunders in second, as Jason, of course, finds himself further back now. Jaden Sanchez goes into third, Austin Collins fourth, and how about Thomas Coonan back up into fifth in number 68. Despite going back to the tail end of the field under caution and pitting multiple times, Thomas Coonan, he is with us and now finds himself within the confines of the top 5. Austin Collins just barely ahead. Now Collins there in fourth. He is the middle ground between Coonan and that podium. He's got to get up there with Jaden Sanchez, which is still something he could do. Just hasn't quite found the room to go for it as we come across the line with 46 laps to go to make it only 45. Sanchez is looking ahead, and he sees Cody Atkins with the lead. Side by side for the top spot, Zach Saunders looking low, and all of a sudden now it's going to be the 32. Atkins finding some trouble. Deep diving for the number 6 machine. Zach Saunders looking under, and as it comes across the line here, Zach with the minor advantage going into 1 and 2. He'll have a chance to jump further off the stripe again. Very close contact for second. Atkins in the wall. It's going to be Cody Atkins coming right up to the high side, and he's going to go 1 inch too high. Big trouble for Cody Atkins. And the Chevy Silverado, number 32, going to get caked into the right side, hoping not to replicate it. He almost does. Now just got to be real patient. This circumstance is not going to be easy to battle out of alone. Have to see what happens here. As we see Thomas Coonan now given the opportunity. Caution will fly, the reason being Austin Runkle. Runkle brings out the yellow. Let's take a look at why. Looks like a very small incident. Nevertheless, it brings out the caution. So Austin Runkle is going to get loose, and you're looking at the number 7 right now. This will bring out the yellow flag, so I believe iRacing is calling the shots as to what is an incident and what is not. Apron down low and comes up the track. That is the reason why caution is out. Runkle just slightly out of control, kept it together, but that still brings out the yellow, unfortunately. And in all honesty, Runkle really couldn't have done much else there. He had a good grip on it. He got it together. Fortunately, that just calls for a caution regardless. 42 laps to go, and as we have a little bit of time here before we get the racing going once again, we'd like to thank our partners at Tango Paints for providing high quality iRacing paint schemes and liveries, which you'll see a little bit more of after we come through with this pit cycle. Pit stops are in full swing, and it looks like right now it's going to be the number 6 leading the way. There's Zach Saunders. Saunders brings in Sanchez. Sanchez brings in Coonan, and the big 3 coming at once. Now time to look at your pit exit here. Let's see who makes it out first. Everyone's going to come right down to their stalls. Nobody is going to miss it. And this might be the one and only pit stop of the day. We got down to the halfway marker, so if you've made it this far, you are safe to go the rest of the distance. Coming across the line here, we'll see who gets it first. It is going to be Sanchez, then Saunders, then Truman, then Cody Adkins, and it's going to be then Tony Jones who finds himself in 6th. Raymond Castle decides to stay out on the track as the rest of the field comes off pit road. We'll be right back after an exclusive message from our friends at Tango Paints. 41 laps remaining, and it's going to be the icy number 14 of Raymond Castle. Advantageous. Raymond decided to keep himself out on the track. It's a risk. However, Raymond went down to pit road 14 laps ago, so the hope for him is that it's an older stint, but not that old, so he should be somewhat competitive, at least for the opening laps. We'll see whether or not that really comes into play, or if it's too much wear already. The driver now, the number 14, well, he's got himself a chip on his shoulders, getting that older tire set up to lead. Not going to be easy to hold on to it. Being there is one thing. Now it's all about defending. And defense, quite the challenge in itself. God, it's Raymond Castle up in front. It looks like he'll be given the opportunity to keep this lead. Not going to be forced down to pit road despite the age on his tire. Now it's Sanchez second and Zach Saunders third. It'll be time to do a restart. This time by the first of the second half. It'll be 38 laps to go when we return to the green flag. Watching the slight adjustments inside the cockpit for Raymond Castle, it looks like he's going to get himself out and on the way. And we look inside the cockpit of Castle. I believe he's running on controller. Quite a lot of drivers came in tonight running on controller. Castle now one of which, and you can see the way he's moving his hands. Looks like some quick jitters to keep himself alive more than anything else. And Raymond will decide to stay up in front. So number 14 is going to be up there regardless of the controller he's using. It looks like he's got confidence in his car, and for good reason. He's going to keep himself there, and when we talk about Raymond's race, it's been a story of going up and up. He started in 20th out of 22 drivers. He's first now. Made it up 20 spots on the day. The question becomes more so whether or not he can hold on. With 39 laps remaining, it won't be easy. And with Jaden Sanchez up top, it looks like Sanchez is going to have a fast track up to the front of the field. He should be able to take the lead through the first two corners, and Thomas Coonan would be due to follow. That is, of course, if the wear right now for the 14 is detrimental. Going to be Raymond up there in the front of the field, Castle holding on with old tires. Then you see Sanchez, Saunders, Cody, Adkins, and your top 5 goes back to Adkins right now in the 32, who's there in the third row, right beside Tony Jones. Jones sliding to get those tires warmed up just a bit. Hoping to get himself set up for another restart here. Hoping to make some gains. He's right behind the best drivers in the field, and now a chance to compete with them on a level playing field. Everyone else going to be on the same set of tire beside Raymond Castle. Get back at it again, this time by with only 38 laps to go. Pace car leads the pack once again. Green flag is out with 38 laps remaining. Castle's already loose. He'll drop down and in and get out of the way of your leaders. It's now going to be Sanchez up in front. As we mentioned, Sanchez gets the fast track up to the race lead. Thomas Coonan now up to third, and the big four are going to fight themselves up in front. It's going to be now Jaden Sanchez and Zach Saunders first and second. Here comes Saunders looking to the bottom side. He's got an opportunity now to make it stick. Look low. Saunders is loose. He'll come up the track, and he's going to bring Jaden Sanchez right there with him. 2 by 2 even still. Both drivers able to save it. And now, it's going to be all up to Saunders to keep himself straight. Don't want to wear out the tires here, so making risky decisions like that could be all the difference. And it looks like now that number 6 comes across the line just barely with a race lead. Advantage almost there for Zach. Can't quite grab it, at least for now. Gonna get moved up high. Jaden Sanchez goes for the crossover move, and all of a sudden it looks like now the 24 has the dominant inside line. It is gonna be Sanchez looking to the bottom. Thomas Coonan and Cody Adkins, third and fourth. They're right there, and here comes Tony Jones with Alan Dice, fifth and sixth, have also decided to join the party. And now looks like 2 by 2 up in front is gonna become a conga line of drivers. Like now, it's going to be Sanchez leading the low side, and it's going to be Saunders up top. A swap from what we saw just 5 laps to go. And now the 24 machine with the opportunity on the best defensive line. In all honesty, Zach Saunders might be able to make something out of that middle groove, so long as he keeps up with the momentum he already has. He's prevailing up top already. Now the question becomes, what more can he do to hang on? Coming across the stripe here, it's going to be Jaden Sanchez and Zach Saunders close again. Saunders almost puts the bumper back to Sanchez, and the pressure is on because you also see Thomas Coonan right there on Saunders. Now, Zach is in the middle, and he's got the front bumper full, and the back end is packed as well. Thomas Coonan looking up top, and Cody Adkins going to be looking down to the bottom side. Now Sanchez has his hands full, and he's leading the field. That's more competitive than ever. The best drivers remain, and right now they are toughing it out at the head of the pack. Going to be 33 laps to go, and it looks like about 5 or 6 drivers are connected to your leaders. Austin Collins is still with us here in 7th, and there's a little bit of a drop-off then to Vitor in the number 12. All comes down to what you're looking at up front. Now, other drivers can say they're waiting in the wings. Other drivers are waiting in the wings. But there's no stopping what you're looking at here, and that is the front pack, composed of Sanchez, Saunders, Coonan, Adkins. Now it's going to be side by side between Zach Saunders and Thomas Coonan. Thomas started all the way at the front of the field. He decided to put himself further back as a result of an early pit stop, and now he's inside the podium and might just be looking for second. Going up top, here comes Thomas. What can Zach do about it? Nothing so far. He's going to come across the line and looking for an opportunity to make things work. Thomas Coonan, he's got himself no car length just yet. He is still neck and neck. It is door to door, and it's going to remain that way as they come off of 2. Take a look on the backside of Jaden Sanchez now. Multi-groove blocking will come to a close. Thomas Coonan is now the only driver behind, and Coonan is looking for the lead. It's going to be a blink fast, or rather, try not to blink, because if you blink once, it's going to be a fast move under for Thomas Coonan. The 68 down to the inside. He's already got it side by side, but it looks like Jaden's going to be able to hold on. Quick move there up to the high side for Sanchez. 56 thousandths of a second and decreasing. That's the gap between your leaders. Once again, Coonan's going to have to give in, and he will give back the lead to the 24. Sanchez holds on with 29 laps left. Thomas Coonan going to look to the bottom side yet again. He's got himself dropped right low. Sanchez He is finding himself all over the track, high side, low side, looking for opportunities to defend. Opportunities he is not yet fulfilled, because now Coonen's going to put it down low once again. Thomas Coonen's biggest enemy, in all honesty, might just be himself. The way that he's driving here, it all comes down to how he positions the car. There's little that Jadon Sanchez can do. The bodies of these old trucks are very, very easy to set off, so to speak, and if you cause any trouble, you might end up going around spinning off of a minor touch, let alone major incidental contact. So right now, Sanchez knows he's got to let Coonen have all the room he needs, or else there's going to be a much bigger conflict on the track. And that patient mindset, in all honesty, might just help Thomas Coonen. He knows he's got time. He knows he's not going to face contact on the backside of any of his moves. He knows he will not have to worry about being hit on the way down and out. So the real question becomes, well, what's Thomas Coonen going to do? He's got time. He's got space. He's got everything in his favor right now. And in all honesty, I think he's got the confidence to keep things moving. A little bit of contact there for Tony Jones and Alan Dice. They'll keep it straight nevertheless. And now going to be side by side, the 41 coming up top of the M&M's paint scheme, and it looks like right now he's blocking Austin Collins to no end. Collins evidently not a fan, but he can't do much. I think Coonen still has time here. Whether or not he's burned up his stuff is another question, but if you're right on board, in a moment's notice, we will figure out the cautions out with Joey Kuba, the cause. Yellow flags out for a single car incident, or rather two cars. Raymond Castle additionally looks like he got involved. And Kuba, going at the time it started, the 45 machine of Carson Cluley ends up sliding, and he goes up into the 93, and they spin. And then from there, the 93 gets away. Raymond Castle just barely, but it looks like Carson Cluley gets the worst of it, and he ends up parked. 7 laps down, Carson already is, and he catches. Did he get Jade? Oh, it gets so much worse. Your leader has damage. Carson Cluley, hit your leaders. Hit multiple leaders. Can you believe it? He destroys the number 30. Wow. Unbelievable. Carson Cluley just changed this race, and not for the better. Take a look at this. It was parked. It was parked. Oh, and the 24. Jadon had nowhere to go. Then the 45 hits multiple drivers. Why would he not hold the brakes? Unbelievable for Carson Cluley. A lapper already brings out the caution and collects about 5 drivers, including your former leader in Jadon Sanchez. Sanchez is second still, but no fast repair. That would have been his night, and he would have had to say goodnight prematurely for something he did not do. The high side looks safe till it wasn't. How about that for Carson Cluley? 9 laps down, still on the track after what happened. Field is pacing once more. 24 laps to go. We'll come back green with about 22 laps remaining on the day. And if you're a frequent visitor of the FTN channel, you know what that means. We are going to crank it up with the best cameras on the iRacing platform. TrackCams22.com provides high-quality iRacing cameras, the best cameras on the market. So we'll come back green with about 21 laps to go. It looks like it's going to be a slightly longer caution. Let's talk a little bit more about TrackCams22. As we have some time, TrackCams22.com, once again, the provider of all the high-quality FTN used cameras you see on every broadcast here on the channel. It's been a pleasure to work with them since 2022, and tonight they are providing the fantastic onboard cameras we're using with the Legacy truck. So we have some brand new options in regards to what you're looking at for the rest of this season. And the Prodigy Racing Association bringing the Legacy trucks back in style. Something you don't often see, these old trucks bringing themselves to new tracks, and it's going to be a very versatile schedule. The first track we're going to be heading to is Daytona for 250 miles of racing. A familiar track, of course, but then from there, we've got ourselves a trip up next to a circuit you might be familiar with as well. Matter of fact, since we have some time, let's read out the schedule. It is not the longest of schedules. There's 12 weeks, but it's going to be 12 action-packed weeks, and it is going to be quite a few tracks you recognize, some you might not for typical stock car racing. It's going to start with Daytona, then Richmond second, USA International third, then we head back to Charlotte for week number 4. Lanier will be 5th, Concord is 6th, then Pocono, Daytona once again, Southern National, Iowa, Thompson, and finish it all off, the second Richmond race. So, 2 duplicate races. Rest of it is going to be completely unique events. 22 laps to go this time by, and we will come back green with 21 laps to go. The home stretch is here, and it's going to be 4 drivers who look to have a realistic chance at the win. It's the number 6, Zach Saunders, Jaden Sanchez, 24, Thomas Coonan, the 68, and Cody Adkins, the 32. Those 4 drivers have the best chance to go all the way and come home in victory lane. Let's see who's got what it takes here. The home stretch is upon us, and it's time to get things moving from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Green flag is going to fly, and it's going to be Saunders, the man who takes the green ahead of them all. We'll see how much longer he lasts up in front. Whether or not he gets past is a different story, and it all lies in the hands of Jaden Sanchez here, getting another front row restart. He's been on every front row restart so far tonight, including our initial start. Cranking it up now with 21 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at Track Cams to Performance. Let's get loud from America's home for racing. The 68 finds himself up in front. It's Coonan there, and he's got Zach Saunders and Jaden Sanchez all over him. Coming down the stretch this time by, it's going to be now taking him 3 wide for the race lead. Sanchez pulls back, but he had a chance to go there for the top spot. He decides to lay back a little bit further, and the 24 decides again to think better of it. Coming across the stripe here with the Baker's dozen remaining, Zach Saunders finds himself ahead. 68 laps in out of the big 80, and now it's Zach up in front in that number 6 machine. Well, he's got himself a mirror that is jammed with the best drivers in the business. Thomas Coonan right up top, looking all the way up to the edge of the wall. I think he actually scrapes it once, twice, 3 times, and still maintains momentum. Being able to preserve everything he has inside the car, doing a pretty good job of just that. And now as he comes across the line, he's got a number 24 still right there on him. 13 laps to go, only going to become 12 here. And if you look from the roll bar camera here of Cody Adkins, which has been moved up to the top of the hood, well, you'll see it here. Cody's got the best view in the entire circuit. Everything comes down to whether or not these big 3 make a mistake, because waiting in the wings here is Cody Adkins. He knows there could be a mistake. The pressure is on, and these drivers understand, no doubt, that this is a high-stakes circumstance. Don't want to make any extra mistakes than what is absolutely necessary. And I think right now, with the way these drivers are racing each other with such respect, I won't expect many unforced errors. Not saying it's going to be impossible. It most likely will occur where there are going to be 1 or 2. However, it looks like right now it's all about being patient despite being aggressive. And that racing attitude, a very positive racing attitude, will give way to a real good battle here as Thomas Coonan now tries to get atop Zach Saunders and make his way around with 10 laps remaining. Ten laps to go. And this is what it all comes down to. Holding his own on the high side, Thomas Coonan got the opportunity to get that run, and he's got it to stick. He's got a little bit of help now with Jaden Sanchez, and the top 2 drivers are going to be working now against each other. High side and low. Now the high side prevails and gets the race lead. So Saunders maybe going to take a page out of Coonan's notebook here. Sanchez is inside the wall, try to get by Jaden and go for that switchback maneuver with now the single digits. 9 laps to go. This is it. It looks like right now it's going to be the entirety of the field chasing after Thomas Coonan, and Coonan will be able to take himself back to lead despite the fact he's gone all over the track. He was as low as dead last. He went down the pit road after that first caution, decided it was an opportunity to get some new rubber and chase through the field, and he has shown today, no matter what position he ends up in, Coonan has the pace to win. 8 laps remaining. Zach Saunders still chasing. He's right there side by side, but Sanchez has not given up. And with Sanchez keeping himself there on the high side, it's the best distraction that Thomas Coonan can ask for. I'm sure he doesn't like how close these drivers are, but having them side by side is a huge assistance as they even go nearly 3 wide. Jaden Sanchez looking low. Does he go for the crossover? No, he can't. Coonan blocks perfectly. Wow. Thomas Coonan almost going to lose it there, and regardless of what just occurred, Coonan now going to find himself in that number 68 down to the bottom side of the track. Jaden Sanchez going to be up top, and Zach Saunders there in third. The 1-2-3 combo going to see a little bit of wiggle. Thomas Coonan sent down to the bottom of the track. He saves it, and we stay green with 6 laps to go. No holds barred. This is all-out racing, and now Zach Saunders with the opportunity to go down to the bottom side, and it is Cody Adkins now playing it a little bit calmer. Adkins has been the 4th driver. He's been waiting in the wings, looking for the opportunity, but so far it has not come his way. Thomas Coonan with 5 laps to go this time by will come around to the stripe with the race lead again. Alan Dice is now in 5th. He's gotten there, and the caution flies. We will go to overtime. It's going to involve Rodney Roberts and Jace Hale. So a 2-lap shootout looks like that will be the end of this race. Let's take a look back now and figure out what caused it. So Rodney Roberts involved in his third caution of the day out of the 6 that we have had. Figure out if he was the cause of the incident or if it happened in front of him. And as we came across the line here, Roberts is going to get involved with the number 30 machine, the number 9. So no, Roberts is going to get himself involved with collateral. Austin Collins. And then Raymond Castle gets away, but it's Austin Collins who brings out the yellow flag. 4 laps to go. And as such, we've got ourselves a caution again. Maybe could have been avoided, but either way, good to go for another restart. Thomas Cooten holding fourth, and it looks like when we look at the restart system for tonight's event, we should be good to go for a little bit more. As it stands, it's going to be an opportunity to go past the lap 80 marker and give way to a restart. Looks like Cooten goes down to pit road here. Big risk. Jaden Sanchez, Cody Atkins, Alan Dice, 1, 2, 3 decide to stay out. And this race might be extended by 1 lap. Quite the battle until the caution flew. Unfortunately, it's not going to develop any further that way, but we should still see 2 more laps of racing. Cooten going to be down on pit road and gets it back on the way quickly. The number 68 going to be the first driver out of pit road. And that is the advantage of going through pit road and being first out. Now he's only got 3 more drivers to go through who are on older rubber. Thomas Cooten might have himself in the perfect position here because just ahead of him is only Sanchez, Adkins, and Alan Dice. But we say only, still not going to be easy. Those are some of the best drivers in this field, regardless of the fact they're on 21-lap-old tires. It's thick competition. However you slice it, it's not going to be easy from here. I think everyone here knows that Jaden Sanchez and Lake, I'm pretty sure they are aware of the fact that, well, even if they're now not necessarily in the best position to win, one driver can only do so much when there are 3 ahead of him blocking on the same strategy. Coming across the line, and it will be Jaden Sanchez with the lead, and the signal is 2 laps to green. This race will be extended, and the official ending lap will be lap 82. With a little bit of time before that restart comes to pass, we'd like to thank iRacing Motorsports Simulations for their continued dedication to providing the world's best online racing simulator. Visit iRacing.com after tonight's broadcast, and we'll return with the remainder of your coverage after a brief message from iRacing Motorsports Simulations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
One lap to green, and it's going to be a shootout to remember. It's going to be a green-white checkered. So, with that being said, this is our first attempt, and it's going to be our first out of 2. So we only have one more opportunity to get this race done after this. So if we get a yellow flag before the white flag, which means most likely not get a yellow flag during the final lap, then we will extend the race one more time. However, a second attempt at extending the race will not happen. It is this or the next caution. That is it. And it's very likely this is the way it all ends. Jaden Sanchez, Cody Atkins, Alan Dice. Top 3. And Thomas Coonan decides to go up high to put himself on the second row. Up top with Atkins. He's going to try to break through here with only 2 laps to go. Can the new tires pay off, or will it be all about that roadblock up in front? Maybe now we're going to find out whether or not tires come into play all too much. This could be practice for the future. Pace truck dives in. Now time to see as Jace and Cody lead the way. Sanchez pulls us through. 2 laps to go. Back on the way for our first green-white checkered attempt. Thomas Coonan going to be facing big pressure on the high side, and that number 68 cannot make it through immediately. He'll instead dive down to the bottom side on Alan Dyson, trying to make something happen here. This is for 1 position. Should be able to easily lock it down. Cautions out will go to double overtime. The 93, Joey Kuba, is destroyed. Here's the instant replay. This opens up the possibility this race ends under yellow. This is your 8th caution of the day. So Kuba up top, look to be on his own. And the 93 maybe a little bit loose. Coming down the back straightaway, no trouble still. And the 30 ends up hooking into the number 14 of Raymond Castle. Multi-car incident. Once again pacing, and unfortunately, it's our last caution no matter what. We will not have another opportunity to extend this race. Race now could end under yellow. We could end up heading to as high as lap number 87 with the way things are looking. Race is going to be stretched out a little bit longer. And it'll be now Jaden Sanchez once again with the lead, and he's in a great spot if there is a caution. Might be banking on a yellow flag at this rate. Relapse the green, and then we'll sell it for certain. With the field pacing once again, it looks like Thomas Coonan going to be 4th, was not able to officially get around Alan Dice according to our timing and scoring loops. Chris Mullins going to be in 6th, and Zach Saunders is there in 7th. Jace Hale going to be 8th, and Eric McCluskey position number 9. Rodney Roberts rounds out the top 10 with James Fetzer then in 11th, and Raymond Castle going to be 12th, currently speaking. 12 drivers on the lead lap. Might be the way it remains till the very end now, as the very few of us survived have been able to make it quite an exciting race, albeit few too many cautions than we'd like. Tony Jones appears to be out of the truck, and that might be Tony's night in the 41. An unfortunate way to end this one. However, Jones ran strong for the first 80-plus laps and will have to end it prematurely, and we are informed why. It's a shame, but it might be the sign of more to come as Tony gets his first start here in the PRA Legacy Truck Series. Two laps to green. Jaden Sanchez and Cody Adkins going to be up in front, and they have still not gone down to pit road. 27-lap stint, which is the oldest of anyone left in the field, and they could stretch it all the way to lap number 30 if all goes well. Now, since we're at our final green-white checkered attempt, no matter what happens, this race is official. If the caution flies, the race will end and timing and scoring will be frozen and will award the victory and the subsequent positions based off of the timing and scoring loop the drivers have arrived at. If we get to the white flag, well, that's the race. We're not going to see a caution during the white flag lap, and we will go until the very end. So, with that being said, everything is the final moment now. The last lap could be the next coming, or it could be the white flag lap in itself. You've got to approach them both like they're the white flag. It's almost like a double-sized white flag lap, because even if it's 2 to go, if the caution flies, the race ends and the field is frozen. So you got to drive hard, but you also don't want to be the cause of the caution. And if you'd end up being the cause, well, you're going to lose all those positions, and your race is effectively done for. 1 lap to green this time by. It'll be now 2 laps to go, and any lap from here could end this race. Now with the iRacing official pace truck getting on the way regarding late model stocks, at the moment, this is the only PRA series which will be broadcasted on this network. At least for now. If we find availability with our rest of the FTN crew, there's a possibility, but for the time being, this is the only PRA series coming to the channel starting next week. Always room for expansion, but we'll have to figure out whether or not we can bring more to the table when it comes to FTN's availability. So, late model stocks will not be on this channel, but legacy trucks will be from the start of the season to the very end. 3 laps to go this time by. It'll become 2, and this is your second and final green-white checkered attempt of the day. Pace truck is down and in for the final time tonight. Jaden Sanchez will lead the field through, and Cody Atkins is right beside him. Green flag is going to fly, and it's going to be the number 24, advantageous. 2 laps to go. Green flag's out once again. Sanchez gets the jump. Going to be a nice jump there for Jaden Sanchez. Cody Atkins is going to be right there with Alan Dice. Dice side by side. The number 15 not giving up. And Thomas Coonan looking on, trying to get himself up into the podium. Coonan was not able to warm up those tires, however, so he's at a disadvantage now as he tries to take it 3 wide with 1 lap to go. Thomas Coonan down all the way under. It's going to be 3 wide for second, and Coonan's got the advantage. As he goes through 1 and 2, he should be able to take the spot, and that he does. Thomas Coonan up to second. Jaden Sanchez now going to have to watch that rear view mirror with a 1/4 of a second a gap. 1 lap to go. Sanchez has led the majority of this race from start to finish. Thomas Coonan coming in hot down to the inside line. Thomas Coonan's right there. The 68 goes high all the way to the top of the track. It's a drag race to the line. Sanchez appears to lose by 4 thousandths of a second. Thomas Coonan completes the comeback. Are you serious? Coonan wins by 4 thousandths. Take a look again. What a finish. Thomas Coonan with the drive of his life out of the final turn. And Thomas wins. Sanchez held him off till the final 10 feet, and Coonan collects the checkered. And the party's on for the 68 of Coonan, who burns burns down the house. What a win for Thomas Coonan in the number 68. Can you believe it? And that's a perfect way to bring the Legacy Truck Series on to FTN. Coonan will win from Jaden Sanchez, Zach Saunders in third, Alan Dyson fourth, and Chris Mullins then going to be there in fifth. Jace Hale comes home then in sixth, and it's going to be Eric McCluskey in seventh. Eighth place is going to be occupied by Cody Adkins, and Cameron Albertson comes through in ninth. Rodney Roberts ends up closing out the top 10. Then from there, you're going to find 11th place, which is going to be Raymond Castle, and James Fetzer going to be in 12th. Austin Collins is going to be 13th, and Tony Jones then 14th. Joey Kuba going to be 15th, and Vitor Gilherme in 16th, with Carson Cluley in 17th, Austin Runkle 18th, and Nick Hodge in 19th. There, Wesley, position number 20. Finish it off, Sean Quinn in 22nd, and Ray Williams 22nd there. Sean Quinn 21st at the end of day, and it's a two-lap shootout to remember. Thomas Coonan gets it done at the very end. And we'll bring in that number 68 and see if he's available for comment for Thomas Coonan, a recruitment race with a finish. We are not going to forget the 68 crew wins by 4 1,000ths of a second. Thomas, if you're with us here, we'd love to talk through this one.
All right, I'm here. I got you.
What a way to win. The gap was just 4,000 at the line, and it seemed like with your strategy, you would have to make those new tires work perfect. And you got through 3 wide of the line for the white flag lap. You set yourself up well, but then came down to the tail end where you had to fight against Sanchez, who was dominant today.
Absolutely. I mean, Sanchez kind of had a really good car today, as well as Sauter. Saunders, or his name is. Sorry about that. But they both had pretty fast trucks today. There was some cautions that threw out really early in the race, and we worked on the truck trying to get a little bit faster, see if we can get anything done. Someone mentioned about the fact that the 2-hour tire strategy could actually work. So we tried that out at the last pit stop there, see if it could at least get us a couple more positions. And well, 3 guys stayed out and they didn't take tires, so I automatically knew that since they didn't take tires, we would be able to have a little bit more grip in the corners and possibly win this thing. It took us till last green white tracker to get it done, but we got it done.
And getting it done where it mattered most, quite a few yellow flags into the first caution. You went down to pit road rather early, went to the back of the field, and stormed your way up as the race progressed. You got the experience of going through the entire field, so you think that helped you there in making that daring move in the final lap?
Absolutely. I mean, with the way things were going, I know it's a recruitment race, and we were getting guys together to race these races, and I knew that there's certain moves I could do versus I couldn't do, and just kind of keeping my patience and understanding when there's a gap. Towards the end there, I got a little bit overzealous with my passes, but I knew I could stick it down there once I get down there. But really, during the whole race, I was just trying to see what worked and also just keeping myself on my toes, make sure I avoid those wrecks and make sure I don't get in too much trouble.
Well, I'll tell you this much, you're able to get out of the trouble and get into victory lane. What a momentum boost this has to be, the first broadcasted race of this series' existence. And next week, 250 miles at Daytona, hopefully a little bit cleaner than what we saw tonight. But with that being said, we are now moving on to the home stretch here in the final recruitment days. How are you feeling about bringing this season into full motion with the first full-length event?
I honestly think that with this series, I think we got a good group of guys. Honestly, we had a little more cautions tonight than we wanted, but like I said, it's a recruitment race. We got some new people here. Everyone's getting their feet underneath them, understand how everyone races around each other. So going forward, I hope that we can get a good set of guys going forward and really get to know each other and get some good racing going on. I know from the Street Stock Series that the guys who raced there, really great racing, the cleanest that I've ever had on iRacing, and I can guarantee you, if we got those guys coming over to the Truck Series, definitely going to be an amazing show there for you.
We're hoping to see more of the exciting action we saw at the very tail end tonight. Thomas, a victory lane here in Charlotte. If you have anyone else you'd like to shout out before we move on to the World Center of Racing, well, make sure to let us know.
Well, I'd like to shout out PRA for letting me host this series and be able to do some stuff with it, just kind of experiment with it and have it to be able to work. And the guys back at JFR, they helped me with a lot with getting able to get the setups the way they need to be for the fixed races. So we can actually have some good, clean racing without much problems. I would like to thank SimPulse Paintworks with my buddy, who he and I also help work with that and help get some awesome graphics and awesome paint schemes on the track like you saw tonight on my truck.
By 4/1000ths of a second, the 68 truck moves into victory lane. Thomas Coonan, we thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
And with Coonan on the way, unfortunately, nobody else is available in the voice chats to talk to tonight. So getting a few requests, and unfortunately, nobody else is there with us here to discuss regarding what happened here in this race. The highs and the lows come to a close, and it is Thomas Coonan, your race winner, Jaden Sanchez in second, and Zach Saunders in third. Well, I'll tell you this much, if we get these drivers back from this recruitment race, we should be able to visit them again at the virtual Daytona International Speedway when we return to competition here in the Prodigy Racing Association in just a week's time. We hope to have you there for the Daytona 250, the first official race of the season, after a thrilling recruitment race finale to end it off with Coonan on top. Thank you all for stopping by live on FTN here, the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, the place to be tonight. And we thank you all for coming in to find out what it's like here in the Prodigy Racing Association SimPulse Legacy Truck Series. We'll see a lot more as the season goes on. Daytona up next, and then Richmond from there. So it's going to be a versatile schedule with a super speedway and a short track, the first two races of the campaign. I've been your host, commentating and producing through all of tonight's action, David Kreutz, and we hope to see you next week. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, make sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Thank you all for tuning in tonight from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. We hope you have a fantastic night.